to Biztech's Women in Leadership show. Our guest for today is Emmanuelle Chavarot. She's the CEO of Intrepid Malaysia. Intrepid Group Asia is a leading e-commerce and digital solutions provider in Southeast Asia. Now, to tell us more about Intrepid Group Asia, Emmanuelle, welcome to the show.
Hey, hello. Thank you for having me today. So, as you said, I'm the CEO of Intrepid Malaysia.
And so, Emmanuelle, for a start, could you give us an overview of the group itself across Asia?
Yeah, sure. So Intrepid is one of the top leading enablers in Southeast Asia. So we are providing e-commerce and digital solutions to mainly international brands across the region. Our business focuses in three core pillars. The first one is what we call e-commerce services or store management, when we help international brands to develop their commercial strategy, but also to execute it. When it goes to e-commerce with some platform like Shopee and Lazada, we do, for instance, graphic design, CX, fulfillment, all those type of things you need to do to run your business online. Our second pillar is marketing solution. So it means we have our own internal marketing team, and we help the brand, one, to define their media planning, but also to execute it when it comes to investment on e-commerce, but also more also on awareness building or social media management for our brand partner. And our third pillar would be data solution. So it's where we have a portal or which helps the brands to have some insight on the category or their main brand competitor across either in one country or across the region. I think one key strength of our company is we are in all Southeast Asia. So we have teams working in each country, and we leverage really also our tech team to develop more solutions for our brands.
So Emmanuelle, so this is interesting then. So if I'm a large brand out of the North America, United States, and I want to build my e-commerce business in Asia, I work with people like you who basically give me a go-to-market strategy.
Yes, exactly. So you have different models depending on the brand's needs, but you can be a US brand, or you can be also brands already present here in Malaysia or in other countries in Asia. And sometimes a brand doesn't have a strong team internally to execute all the e-commerce strategy and business. So they need some support for external partners, and it's really what we provide. We see ourselves as I would say, extension of the brand team. We work very hand to hand with our brand partner to support their e-commerce strategy.
So on the other flip side of the equation, Emmanuelle, if I'm a large brand out of Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, I have a great business locally, but I just want to go regionally very quickly. And I don't have, as you said, that expertise from a logistics, from a solution, from a strategy. You're the type of business that I partner with.
Yes, exactly. So for instance, if you're a brand in one country and you want to expand in another country, we can help you to go online when it comes to the commercial strategy, fulfillment, and all marketing and data services. After the logistic part, like importation and so on, so those some details depends on who will do. Sometimes the brands, they have their own team, and we manage the business once the product are in the country. It really depends on the needs of the brand in a way. But we see more and more also one key advantage I see of being a regional player is you can get learnings also across markets. So if we manage business in different countries, we can share best practice, have faster also in terms of execution when it comes to graphic design or merchandising strategy. We can leverage learning from the brand and apply in different countries.
And I must say that because many of you at Intrepid Asia are from marketplaces like Lazada before, you're really an insider that's then helping, an ex-insider helping all these brands work with these big marketplaces.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think it's something that is one of our core, actually. Our DNA, so the company was founded in 2017 in Vietnam. And since then, the co-founder or most of our team, the leadership team, or also our extended team, we are all from digital world. So meaning either we have e-commerce experience or working as an e-commerce manager or executive in some other brands or some other business. And I think from the beginning, this is our key things in Intrepid. Our team is agile, because I think e-commerce is a lot of how you are agility. And meaning we have the mindset, but also we have the flexibility to adjust internally to capture business needs. One last point, I think, which makes sense, which is one of the key strengths for us, is we have our own tech team, so we can develop solutions which are suitable for e-commerce. Like, for instance, our data solution coming from platform, or even myself coming from brand as well. I know how important it is to have some insight on your competitor and on your category. So this is really the core, for instance, a key driver for our data solution.
Now, Emmanuelle, I want to zoom in really on the region and also the e-commerce space in the region. The pandemic basically accelerated e-commerce adoption in the region. 2020 through 2022 really then saw the opening up of borders. Give us some insights into some of the observations that you've noticed over the last 2 to 3 years.
I think it's a very interesting time when it comes to e-commerce the last 2 to 3 years. So we see, like, for sure, when it was during the pandemic, a very high, very high growth rate of the online purchase across all categories, especially big boom on grocery side. But then since this year, as you mentioned, like the border or even the store offline are opening up, we see a slowdown in e-commerce, meaning it's more normalization of e-commerce growth. So e-commerce is still growing, but at a less fast pace than during COVID time. And I think what COVID did, it helped the penetration of e-commerce. So people are more used to shop online. And then now we see a more normal growth, I would say. Also, we could see either in Malaysia, but also for the region, during COVID and even now, really strong acceleration on the social media, like on social commerce development, like with a live stream or a strong push from TikTok, for instance. We see like those different trends are developing. And it's also for us, it's when I was talking about agility, for us, we also set up a team to really tackle this opportunity on how you do business now on TikTok, how you can sell your products through a different customer experience with a live stream, for instance.
Now, Emma, I want to zoom in then on social commerce and live streaming. Which markets in Southeast Asia are you seeing the biggest adoption or the quickest adoption of this?
I think it's all started a few months ago in the different countries. So this we'll see. I think it's a matter of few months because it's still fairly new. Where we really see a key trend across Southeast Asia. When it comes to Malaysia, also it's developing quite fast as well. And yeah, I think it's next year would be very interesting actually, because this year is like the starting year, and next year we can see more impact when it comes, for instance, to sell on let's say on TikTok. Let's say like now a brand can open a store on TikTok and sell their products to the customer.
Okay, let's zoom in on your role in terms of Intrepid Malaysia, and let's talk about the e-commerce market specifically in Malaysia. What are some key observations that you see that are going to be driving growth moving forward?
I think, I mean, on top of the TikTok, for instance, I think one key trend we see is now the brands are more mature when it comes to e-commerce. And, you know, with the economical situation, they want really to make sure they have sharp commercial and marketing strategy. And this means when they do their investment, they want to understand more like, okay, how is my return on investment, or how do I compare to my competitor? So it's where I think data is would be very important. Like for instance, to understand about the category you are playing with, or how is doing your competitor, how your sales are performing versus the rest of the universe you are playing with. So I think this is really something I can see. We go to the next level. First, maybe level is discovering the e-commerce, how it works, and now it's really how to have very strong strategy when it comes to e-commerce.
Now, Emma, in terms of Malaysia itself, the popular platforms are obviously things like Shopee and Lazada.
Yes.
Could you give us some insights into the types of goods or categories that are most popular among Malaysians, and also perhaps then in terms of age groups and demographics of Malaysians that are shopping online?
Yeah, sure. So I think when it comes to categories, so you have, I would say, maybe 2 to 3 core categories. The first one would be maybe like fast-moving goods, like buying cosmetics or buying personal care products, either from here or also cross-border from China. I think those are quite very popular goods. Also, when it comes to electronics, either mobile or mobile accessories or electronics in general, I think this is like some of the categories that was very strong. During COVID time, grocery was really, by definition, really growing very, very fast. Now we can see a slowdown. After, what we can see is now most of the sales or most of the business is coming from West Malaysia, but we can see step by step also the East Malaysia part developing. So I think down the road in Malaysia, it's a matter of time. I mean, e-commerce is developing, and it's how we build the ecosystem. Like, let's say when it comes to fastest delivery or payment online, or for us, like supporting the brand in marketing or data, I think it's really down the road in 5-10 years time, it will be pretty different.
Now, Emma, one of the key things is there are quite a lot of Malaysian brands that perhaps have been successful in Malaysia, but need to go out. And what screams actually in terms of an opportunity for me, because obviously I have interviewed a lot of different brands and businesses and so forth, is really in the halal sector. And where Malaysia has a strength in terms of potentially exporting their products, and e-commerce is a very easy way for them to grow their business without a huge investment. What advice would you give companies like this in terms of taking their first steps out of Malaysia?
I think the key things is understand first the next country. I mean, like sizing the opportunity. Maybe Indonesia could be like a good fit in a way, even if it is quite competitive. So it's really understand the key country or the key size the opportunity, I would say. And after, I think e-commerce is a lot about being entrepreneur, right? So it's a lot about test and learn. So I would say try. I mean, define one step, like which country you want to penetrate, and from there test and learn, and from there grow your business. I think the platform are also well set up to enable also entrepreneur to really open the store and really develop their business online.
Now, Emma, I want to zoom in now on you and women in leadership overall. Now, you're a European woman, you are in Asia. I want to get your insights into women's representation in leadership roles in Asia. Could you give us some of your perspectives in terms of what your observations have been in Asia versus perhaps in Europe, in terms of female leaders?
I think it's a very good question. It's a question close to my heart, actually, like how are women in leadership roles? What I could see in Asia, actually, like women are, I mean, I can see woman leader quite strong actually in different functions. I mean, in different environment. And I think one key things actually linked to that is really, for me, it's also about diversity, where it's very important. I mean, I'm a strong believer, like to have different profile of people, different experience, because it's very important to have a diversity of team. So it's where, like, if you're it's really beyond gender, I would say, when it comes to women in leadership. In a way, it's like how you have a leadership team which is strong and have different profile. Especially, for instance, in e-commerce, it's very agile, right? So you need to have different experience, which to enable you as a business to answer those needs in a way.
Now, one of the things that many people have observed, which is interestingly, despite the fact that Malaysia is an Islamic country, there's actually a lot of women leaders in senior positions, either in the government or also in the private sector itself, compared to the rest of ASEAN. Have you noticed this, and how different is this from perhaps France?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I agree. That's why I was saying you have quite a few number of strong leaders here in Malaysia as well. I mean, I can really see, and I think in France it's still things are changing. So now when it comes to politics or business side, you have more and more, hopefully more and more brand woman leader. But yeah, I think it's for me, it's a transformation. So it's better. The last few years, you can really see a strong increase in terms of gender balance. And I think it's with time, it will change in a way.
Now, Emmanuelle, one of the key things that you just mentioned just a few minutes ago was the fact that diversity is not only about gender, but it's also across the spectrum, whether it is ethnicity, it's also around, obviously, diversity in terms of background itself. Now, unfortunately, many companies say they want to do this, but they don't know how, because they traditionally have been hiring the same sort of people. Could you give maybe some advice in terms of what they should be doing in terms of trying to do this sort of diversity transformation, which is so important if you want to go regional or go global?
Yeah, I think it's so for diversity, I think the key things is to be open. For instance, in Intrepid, what we are looking at is really the personality. So yes, we are looking at the experience of the team, of the candidate, but also at the personality. And I think if the personality is a good match to the company in a way, like let's say, for instance, for us, what is important is entrepreneur mindset, people who are like really eager to develop business and passionate about what they're doing. If you have those core foundation in terms of value, then it's for me it's the most important. And after, it's where you can based on the different experience, you can hire people with a different profile. And I think it's also giving chance to the candidate or to the team member if this person is very motivated. It's how really to give a chance to the person, because I'm a firm believer, like if you're motivated and passionate, you can really make things happening.
So in other words, there, hire for attitude, not so much on paper for qualifications only.
Yeah, not only actually.
Emmanuelle, it's been a fascinating conversation, and I really enjoyed our chat. But before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with?
Sure. Like I would say, be passionate and really believe in what you're doing. So it's either believe in yourself or believe in the business you're leading or you're building or your technology you are developing. I think this is very core, and it's what will drive everything after. And this is really, I mentioned passion. because I think, we have only one life, and we really need to like what we are doing. And if you don't, then change job anyway. So really, passion is everything, and really believe in yourself.
Emmanuelle, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, we've been speaking to Emmanuelle Chavarot, the CEO of Intrepid Malaysia. I'm Brian Fernandez, and you've been watching and listening to Biztech's Women in Leadership show. This interview will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. It'll also be on our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.